Hello everyone and welcome back to the project. So this time what we are gonna do is to redo the lighting for this scene. Remember we did it a bit earlier, but that was just part of the blockout. I made it part of the blockout, but it wasn't supposed to be done at this stage. But I wanted to give you something a bit more than just gray elements. Okay, so what we need to keep in mind for this is that we are going at the end to use the render engine cycle, meaning that you can see it here in the renders. If I render with EV, this is what we get, and if I render with cycles, this is what we get. Okay, because cycles is more based on realism, the light bounces around like in real life, and we get this kind of really much brighter image than with EV, where most of the lighting is a bit, let's say, faked, okay, or simulated, like we would have somehow in a game engine. So I'm still using EV to start with the lighting because it's faster and gives you a good overview of what it would look like. But in the end, we have to keep in mind that we're gonna use cycles. So we would need for that to tweak some things to make it right. So what I'm gonna do first is just tidy up a bit my scene. I'm gonna move all my objects into one collection and then the lights into another, which I'm gonna deactivate. Okay. And now we're gonna set the settings for the world, which is kinda simulating the lighting from the environment, the sky, okay? And just to make sure it is right, what I'm gonna do is to make the walls closed, okay? This means that if I switch to cycles, now the room should be entirely dark, like it is here, okay? But then of course, having a bit of light is still something good. So I'm just gonna delete this face now. It was just to show you what we can do. And now, depending on the length of these walls, I will have more or less light coming inside from the environment. Okay? And that's something also that we can keep in mind for later. Okay. So what I'm gonna do now is to recreate lights to draw the attention towards the good elements, meaning the hamburger and the man again. But something good to do would be to make sure to do it as if we were in a real set, meaning that consider this object to be real objects and also have the real scale. Okay? So if it was real, then maybe I need to make some elements that will make it believable. It's important to always justify your lighting. So, because I want the intention to be on the hamburger, what I'm gonna do first is create some sailing lights, okay? And from this, I will shine lights down onto the hamburger. I'm gonna set the material for the TV screen as well, because it's one of the first lights that we're gonna see. Now it's on all the objects. I'm just gonna make it just on the screen. Okay, like that, it's better. And I can set the brightness of it, maybe its rotation to go a bit toward the right. And now it's time to adjust again all our elements to make sure the viewer's eye goes toward the right. Okay? So that's why I'm moving those boxes now. And again, the TV screen doesn't have to be very bright, it just needs to look like a TV, and we're gonna simulate the brightness of the TV using a light. Okay? So I'm adding spotlights on the ceiling, because the light here is directional using a spotlight. Okay? And what I'm gonna do now is making sure the light on the table is brighter than the one from the screen, so that you will go to the screen first and then to the table. Okay, I'm adding a second light which will shine on the hamburger, and unlike what we did last time, I'm not gonna use a plane at the window, okay, but use my environment settings to have something like a sky behind. You can see that if I set the color of the sky to green, it will leave the scene green. That we don't want. So if I switch to the material editor and I set it to world, this is where I can use nodes to manipulate my world. I'm just gonna add what is called a sky texture, which simulates a real sky, and then just adjust its settings to have like a setting sun with a thick environment, which will give us this kind of bluish lighting throughout the scene. And I'm just adjusting my walls to make sure there is not too much light coming in from the outside. Next, again, the attention on the hamburger. I'm changing the light color to make sure it sets the hamburger apart from the rest of the table. Okay, and I'm just gonna add area lights. Earlier I used mostly omnidirectional lights, point lights, but you can see that in a cinema set they usually don't use that. They either use spots or softbox. So spots, they will use spotlight to simulate them, and softbox and area light is what looks most like a softbox in real life. Okay, so now I'm just finishing to set this up, and as we did last time, I'm just adding a light at the front just to make sure the hamburger is also lit from the front, and I'm using a color which is close to what we have outside, so that we can still kind of feel like it could be the light from outside reflecting onto the hamburger, and it's also separating well the planes. You can see now that the foreground is darker, and then what we have in the background now is that the background is kinda uniform. It's a bit less contrasty than what we have in the middle ground, which is where we want our attention to be. Okay, now I'm adding a light as I did earlier also, but with an area light onto the character to act as a rim light. Okay, and again setting it to the outside color so that it looks like it's justified. Okay, it's not true, but we can say, okay, it looks like it's coming from outside because it's the same color and we can see the sky throughout the window, like that. Okay, so now this is the lighting that we had before with the previous light, and you can see it doesn't really work. Everything is a bit too bright, so we don't have all the attention focused on the character and the hamburger. And with the new lighting now, you can see that the background is set far back and our main elements are in focus. Okay, and now, of course, we have also the dog. I'm just adding a little light underneath it so that it will just highlight its shape. And again, if you can see the object that will be just blown away by the dog, they have a bright outline but a darker shape, which will again set them apart from the scene so that we can notice them much better. Okay? And finally, remember I added some little kind of lamps on the bookshelf, so I'm just gonna add a few point lights inside just to make this scene a bit more interesting. Not completely dark, okay? But not too bright so that it steals the attention from the main elements. And now you can see the final render of this scene. You know the animation will need to be reworked, okay? But this is just not the stage at which we're gonna correct the animation, of course, but this is it. Okay, now it's time to another scene. I'm gonna use again simple shapes to demonstrate how easy you can do a scene that will look correct for the blockout stage. This time I'm gonna use a cylinder to express the length of the sets. You know, the way you can, in some kind of cartoons, see the ground that is round, and that's exactly the effect I want to achieve. And look at that, if I use a simple cube in the background and I rotate it to fit the angle of the ground, you will see that soon you have this kind of big and magnifying effect. This box looks huge. Okay, kinda. Now I'm just gonna use again a few elements to create a face. Okay, it's just mostly cylinders and spheres. Okay, if I create a hole for the mouth, I have my character. Okay, just a head. And I'm just gonna give it a simple body, squarish. Okay, this time. And of course, this guy needs a sword. So again, just simple objects like that. Now I'm gonna create another character as simple as the first one. Okay. Give him also a sword. And now we've got our two characters. And if I reuse some elements from one, I can create something else just for the rest of the sets. Okay. And now we've got it with a bit of lighting to enhance the menacing presence of the guy in the background. And now, if I pose my hero, of course it will look much better. Okay. And that's it for this scene. I went very fast with this, but as you can see, it doesn't need much explanation. It's again a lot of really simple elements put together to have some kind of shape. And now we can understand that there is someone in the foreground with a sword facing some kind of giant character in the background, helped with some kind of flying creatures that are maybe standing in front of what could be a castle. And that's all that there is. Okay? So I hope you like this part. Next time we're gonna start doing the materials for our scene. And so I wish you, as usual, the greatest week, the greatest life. Hope you're doing okay with doing the same things and creating your own scene. I hope you are. And I'll see you next time. Bye.